Welcome back. We've heard a lot over the years what type of effect presenteeism and absenteeism can have on the workforce, but my guest today, well, he has a new twist on this perhaps. He's about to tell us why swine flu could actually be good for business. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. I'd like to introduce Gene Marks, Forbes and Business Week columnist and a small business owner as well. So let's reveal, why could swine flu actually be advantageous to business owners?
Now, first of all, if I sneeze on you, are you going to start running away?
No.
Okay, good.
I might slide away. I might slide away a little bit.
There are lots of reasons why. I mean, swine flu is a very serious thing, so I don't want to make light of the situation. And a lot of people could come under and be afflicted by it. But for a business owner, there is really some potential, some hidden benefits from it.
And we are using swine flu to illustrate this, but it could be any sickness. It could be seasonal flu. It could be any reason that somebody is out of work.
Right. We were just talking about that as well. I mean, swine flu may be a big epidemic. It may not be, but even seasonal flu, other things that cause employees to be out, it's a very, very good chance for a business owner to reassess their business. I remember for years I worked at a large accounting firm, KPMG. They're based down in Philadelphia, and some senior manager would leave for another job, and everybody would be looking around each other and saying, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? Because this guy has left, and how is the firm going to survive?" And I got news for you. Within a few weeks, it was kind of like, "What's that guy's name?"
The world continues on. Everything continues on. We like to think that business as usual cannot continue without us, but it does.
Exactly. So the question is, KPMG was a pretty well organized firm. The world did continue on when that senior manager left. So the question you have to ask yourself as a business owner is my business going to continue on if a key employee is not around, or if a few key employees are not around? How ready am I, and how really stable and independent is my business without these people?
So basically it gives them a chance to test efficacy, how efficient their business is, and helps reassess? Yeah,
it really does. I mean, for example, we always hear about cross-training our employees, okay? Well, now's the time to kind of put the pedal to the metal, If you're going to have an employee that is potentially sick, or if you see this epidemic, potentially affecting your business, you want to start cross-training your people. So if you're out for the day, we want somebody else to be able to sit in your chair and do your job, hopefully just as well, so that the business continues to run. Cross-training is really big.
There is a downside of that, though, you and I were talking about, and the problem with cross-training, while it is great for the boss and for the employer, the employee starts to look over their shoulder a little bit and say, well, wait a second, how many other people know how to do my job? And if they know how to do it too well, what do they need me for?
Yeah, I mean, that may be a downside, but there's also an area of growth for an employee. I mean, if an employee is stable enough or emotionally secure enough to let somebody else help out with their job, hopefully there's other opportunities within the company where they can help. Remember, it's not about the employee, it's about the company. And the company has to function even if those employees are out because they're sick. Another advantage, if you think about it, and what some employees might be worried about, is sort of an internal control aspect. Putting on my accounting hat, and I'm not that great an accountant, but I remember taking some classes in internal control, and if you open up the paper and you see any article about some bookkeeper walking away with money or some cash missing from the business, read a little further and find out why. And a lot of times it's because that person was out on vacation or because they were sick. So this swine flu epidemic or potential epidemic where some key people might be out might actually reveal some secrets that you really weren't aware of in your own business. Because when people are not around, other people have to fill in for what they're doing, and sometimes they find out things you didn't know were happening.
All of a sudden you could see something in the books that you might not have realized was there, and if there is any suspicion, I suppose, and when they're out, it's a good time to check into it.
Why was Jane actually writing this check to herself instead of that person? That's strange. These questions get asked, and a lot of times they go without being noticed. One of the key rules of internal control that I learned is that employees should be required to take vacations, believe it or not. Sometimes in small businesses, we're not so good at internal controls. The swine flu might actually make us, implement those kinds of controls. And again, we might find out things we weren't expecting.
Illnesses, sickness, things that get people out for more than a couple of days at a time. These are the types of things that, as we've said, they have employers reassessing what they need, how many people they need to do a particular job. And, we're reluctant to talk about this right now, especially when so many people are losing their jobs and looking for work. However, times like these give bosses a chance to say, all right, you know what? I probably can do the job with 3 or 4 fewer workers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or you might find out that, not to get rid of somebody, but if we can do the job with less people, don't want to lose this valuable person, we might put them to better productive use or some more creative use when they return from being ill. It'll teach you a lot about your business. One other thing, Eric, that it teaches you is about a business owner. There's a great book. It's a classic in small business management called The E-Myth. It's by Michael Gerber. And I'm a big fan of the book. And it tells about how a small business is only as good as how it runs when you're not there. So, McDonald's is a good example. I mean, if the manager of McDonald's is not there, the franchise continues to run. Well, a good small business should be that way. So if I get sick with the swine flu and I'm out for a few days, how exactly will my business run without me? That would be an interesting lesson to learn. Because if it's not running very well for a period of time while I'm not around, that kind of tells me a little bit that I might want to make some changes in my own business for it to be a little bit more self-sustaining. So the upside is that there can be some education here.
Very quickly, do you think that there is enough cross-training out there right now or no?
No, I really don't. And I don't think that's really any of our fault as business owners. I just think that it's a resource issue. Business owners like myself do stuff when there's a gun put against our head and we have to do it. Illness like that or potential illness kind of puts that gun against our head.
Gene Marks, thank you so much for coming back
Thanks,
in.
Eric.
It's been great talking to you. And if you have any questions or comments about anything in today's show, send them to me at itsyourmoney@news12.com. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back. In this week's Green Business Report, in the spirit of the holiday season, many of us, we look for ways to give and to give back, right? Well, Investors Savings Bank teamed up with the Second Chance Toys initiative to do just that and help the environment at the same time. Even the kids help load the toys that they and other children statewide have donated. These gently used toys will be delivered to 20 different local organizations that care for children in need, and reusing toys means less in our landfills.
We plan to collect approximately 8,000 to 10,000 toys this holiday season, and we have collections during Earth Week and during the holiday season because our goal is to be good and green. We like to help children and we like to help the environment.
Second Chance Toys was founded 4 years ago by a high school student. They collected their 30,000th toy this year. It's time for our Investopedia.com term of the week. You can link to Investopedia through our website, news12.com. This week's term is Christmas Club. It's a short-term savings account that usually pays out the full account balance to its account holders once each year, right before Christmas, hence the name. Christmas Club accounts pay depositors monthly interest on their account balances and often punish early withdrawals by retracting interest earned if money is taken out before a given date. A company in South Plainfield isn't only helping rebuild the World Trade Center, but also New Jersey's workforce. In many ways, it's also rebuilding American pride. MRP is looking for about 30 to 40 new experienced employees to help them rebuild the World Trade Center. News 12 New Jersey's Tony Caputo has more from Middlesex County.
MRP is looking for about 30 to 40 experienced workers to bring in on the staff, and I'll tell you, it'll certainly be a good feeling not only to get a job, but to know what you're doing in here. You know, they're helping to rebuild the World Trade Center. That's certainly going to make them feel good. And here, the employment rate continues to rise, as does the collective feeling of pride.
You know, even the truck drivers that come in here realize, wow, this is all for the World Trade Center, all this material I've been hauling in here for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, and it's pretty exciting for them too.
Working during a recession is good. For these guys, working on rebuilding the World Trade Center is as good as it gets.
We're doing about 40% of the steel going in for Tower 1, the World Trade Center. We're doing about a third of the steel going in for Silverstein's Tower 4. And we're also working on the transit hub.
That's about 20% of the steel for the new PAF station. MRP Steel is so busy these days, it's running 7 days a week and needs more experienced help.
We've got a lot of people calling for applications since we've been in the news more. People calling from Texas, Maine, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Phone hasn't stopped ringing.
But experience is the key. Not just anyone could come in and run this beamline machine.
What this machine does is what we used to use a half a dozen guys for. We used to bring a piece of raw material into the shop, and it would have to be compared to drawings, marks made all over it, and then go to a drilling station, a cutting station, a lot of manual labor involved.
Let's make this story even better. Those guys who used to do that work, new equipment's brought in, they weren't let go, they were retrained to work in other areas of the warehouse here. And we're told they have about 70 applications right now for about the 40 or so positions, and who knows, they may have even gotten more during the course of today. So these jobs will fill up fast, but if you get one, making a living, certainly a good feeling to help rebuild the World Trade Center. In South Plainfield, Tony Caputo, News 12, New Jersey.
Not sure I could think of a better feeling right now. All right, let's go back now and get the answers to our money quiz. How much do you know about money and finance? Question was, in the history of the United States, there have been 75 secretaries of the Treasury. How many of them called New Jersey home during their tenure? The answer, just 4. We didn't have our first until 1961. That was Douglas Dillon. He was followed by William Simon, the only one of the 4 actually born in New Jersey. We then had Donald Regan under President Reagan, and our most recent was Nicholas Brady under both Reagan and Bush Sr. And that's going to do it for this week's show. I'm Eric Lance Turner. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep watching, keep saving, and remember, it's your money.